Hi lads and lasses, Modest Pelican here with Fallout New Vegas. If you enjoyed this video, please ensure the next time a nuclear missile comes, you hack everyone's TV so instead of saying nuclear bomb warning, it says subscribe to Modest Pelican, as this really helps spread the good word of my channel. Fallout New Vegas is without a doubt truly legendary. It's perhaps the most requested video I've ever been asked to make, and understandably so, as it's one of the best RPGs of all time. I remember as a kid, I wanted to play it so badly I used to ride my bike several kilometers every day for months so I could sesh it at my mate's house. His sister was also really hot, but I'm not here to tell you about how I thought I genuinely had a chance with a girl 8 years older than me. I'm here to tell you a story of revenge, love, and personal hardship. The game kicks off with a guy in a checkered suit flexing a poker chip, and then he proceeds to shoot me in the gut. I awake several hours later to a bald guy trying to hold my hand, but I reject him as we're not married. I set up my character with impressive facial hair and am then asked by the bald guy to sit on his couch in my underwear. He says that I won't be paid for my work here today, but he'll use this tape to send around to producers and get me a lot of highly paid work in the future. He then does some psychological tests on me. He says a word like mother, and I have to pick the first thing that comes to mind, like human shield. I'm now free to roam the wasteland with nothing but a razor, a pistol, and a Vault-Tec suit. As you can see, there's been a nuclear war and the world isn't looking too great. Actually, this would probably happen in the real world if totalitarian figures like Putin and Kim Jong-un had nukes, oh my god. This is the little tutorial town known as Goodsprings, full of farmers and settlers trying to survive. I proceed to aggressively slash one of the settlers with my razor. The thing I love about this game is that you can kill anyone. I am, however, now shunned from the town, but silver lining, I stole his rifle. I set off to find the man in the checkered suit, as our objective is clear: find and kill this dodgy Malacca. I proceed to get ambushed by a swarm of mutated blowflies and die almost immediately. At least now I get to respawn and have a second chance at life. I can do better and perhaps work with the people of Goodsprings so they can become a self-sufficient community. I head down to the local saloon and find a woman called Sunny Smiles, which is a pretty wholesome name. I ask her nicely if I can take every single one of her belongings, and she's actually a really generous person, which I respect. With Sunny's armor, I should be able to survive the dangers that await me. Also, I got this cool cowboy hat which keeps the harsh sun off my face. As you can imagine, post-apocalyptic America ran out of sunscreen pretty quickly. I meet some guys who are part of the Powder Gang. I'm not sure what happened here, but it looks consensual, so I'm not worried. They didn't have an awful lot to say, but they didn't attack me either, so I feel like they're now some of my closest friends. I keep exploring, looking for a lead on this dodgy Malacca in the checkered suit. The wasteland is clearly a rather dangerous place to live. There's radiated scorpions, feral dogs, and exposed rocks, meaning it's easy to trip and fall like this poor guy. Eventually, I find a prison that members of the Powder Gang have locked down, but it could be a good place to gather information. They won't let me in, so I decide to finesse the guard. I head back and strip off one of the gang's corpses right in front of this man who is remarkably chill about it. I then head back to the prison and the guard still won't let me in. I guess that is more realistic, as he did just talk to me 2 minutes ago, so I do what I have to do. I murder every single person in the prison. Earlier, I put all my special points into strength, so Mutton Chops is a bit of a unit in physical combat. I'm not going to lie, I saw red and just went on a spree. I didn't care if they were members of the gang or prisoners of war, it just felt like the right thing to do. After the massacre, I pull out my Pip-Boy 3000 and it says like the video and subscribe. Just kidding, that was a sneaky editing trick. I decide from this point onwards to stop killing all the main characters, otherwise I might run out of quest lines and never get my revenge. I also change out of the Powder Gang disguise as they don't have enough clout, because they're dead. I travel forward and come across another stronghold that seems to be under the control of the NCR. Their soldiers are nice enough, but only wearing underwear in what I can only assume is an attempt to try and make me act up. I proceed to walk over a landmine, and in the process my left leg is completely dismembered. The sun's setting, so I'll need to find a place to perch up for the night. The problem is, it seems the NCR are doing a poor job of defending this outpost. I decide to clear it out so I can get my 8 hours. It turns out my hard work paid off, as there were some locals trapped in one of the casinos that I just helped. My guy Johnson Nash tells me the town's deputy may know where the checkered suit Malacca is. I also learn checkered suit guy's name is Benny. I continue making my way through the depressing casino fortress, and then I see her. Ruby Nash, Johnson's fine-ass wife. This woman could be a Batman villain, she's so bad. I attempt to chat her up, but all she wants to talk about is her rad scorpion venom casserole. When the dump truck is that thick, I'll do just about anything, so I tell her I'll go out and get some rad scorpion meat and bring it back. First, I kill a few more bandits and save the town's deputy. He's pretty thankful and says he'll talk to me in the morning. I steal an 11-hour sleep on a stained mattress. I think my character gets better rest than I do. I have this weird sleep disorder where as soon as I get into bed, I watch 6 episodes of Narcos. The deputy says I need to either convince the NCR faction to defend them or go and rescue a prisoner of war that the Powder Gang have taken hostage and make him the town's new sheriff. Considering I went a little crazy with a machete on some prisoners earlier, we'll go with the first option. The NCR faction says they need more troops to lock down the outpost. I personally think some armor for their underwear guards would also be strategically advantageous. I set off to get the NCR some reinforcements. On my journey, I find rad scorpions. Unfortunately, I'm running quite low on ammunition, so I have to use my precious dynamite to kill them. It's okay though, because for Ruby Nash, I do just about anything. I decide to give up on finding these poor folks some protection and instead bring the scorpion meat back to Ruby Nash. She's super appreciative of my efforts and even gives me some casserole, but no smooches. What a tease, she was literally undressing me with her eyes earlier. It's okay though, because the deputy I saved tells me he's heard Benny was last seen in the town of Nipton. On my way out, I throw my last stick of dynamite at Johnson Nash, because if I can't have Ruby, no one can. He actually doesn't die, but his right leg does get crippled, so have fun eating your delicious casserole and dating a cripple Ruby. I start making my way to Nipton and call it karma, but a solid gold lizard sprints right at me, and it genuinely may be the most intimidating thing I've ever seen. It effortlessly destroys me. Eventually, I arrive at Nipton, and it isn't exactly the kind of neighborhood you'd want to raise young kids in. People have been strung up on crosses left to slowly die as the sun beats down upon them. I'm going to hedge a bet that they don't even have sunscreen on. Whoever did this was truly immoral. I quickly meet the people who did this, and they're known as Caesar's Legion. I tell them I love their work and we are birds of a feather. They tell me to spread the good word about what I saw here today. And quite frankly, I see a whole lot of snowflakes playing the victim card. You got stabbed in the neck with a longsword, you didn't get sunburnt. I proceed to walk over a landmine inside a building, and both my legs are blown clean off my body. My guy has had a bad day. I say goodbye to the homies and set off yet again. There's a city down the road called Novak, and I figure someone there will surely have some information for me. On my journey, I pass some of Caesar's Legion who are heading to the same place, no doubt to pillage, burn, and string people up on crosses. Inspirational stuff. I arrive and see a giant T-Rex, so obviously I head straight there. I live near this place in Australia that has a town known for the big prawn. I don't think it attracts that many tourists, it was a real misfire. I head inside and make my way up to the mouth where I meet Manny Vargas, who says he'll tell me where Benny is if I help him. I notice he's a bachelor, so I decide to aggressively hit on him with all the classics. You've had your needs neglected for far too long, haven't you? I can tell. Say that to any girl and they'll take their clothes off and jump on top of you. Surprisingly, he's into me and mentions Benny is in Las Vegas. I proceed to leave him on red. Novak turned out to be a quick stop. I should really tell these civilians they're about to be butchered by Caesar's Legion, but I also don't want to be a wet blanket, so I make my way to Vegas. It's a long trek across the wasteland, and I see a wide range of strange wildlife. Eventually, I find a billboard that has a giant booty on it, so I know I must be getting close. I reach the slums of Vegas, and inside is a My Little Pony with a handgun. Once the nukes dropped, people didn't have a need for tiny ponies, so they joined gangs and pushed dope. I installed a bunch of random mods, and this is the first time one of them popped up in like 5 hours. I see some kids playing tag, and so naturally I try to shoot them. And to my surprise, you can't murder children in this game. I guess from a marketing point of view it makes a lot of sense, but my immersion is shattered. As much as I love getting salmonella from street food stands, I need to find the Vegas Strip with the casinos and the call girls. It actually took me a long time to figure out how to get to the Strip. I had to dress up as an NCR trooper and use their monorail. The first time I tried to use it, they just shot me on sight, and being on the other end of unnecessary violence is confronting. At last, the Vegas Strip. It's pretty impressive, and it's being heavily guarded by Dwight Schrute bots, so I've got to behave. This is a place where wastelanders come to enjoy what it was like before the war, where you stripped off and splashed in water fountains with 3 multiracial women. This could have been some kind of serious protest, but I shot my shot. I decide to visit one of these fine establishments, and I can instantly tell it's a place of God. There's prayer tables where they gather around and pray to Jesus. I'm not sure why he just threw up on that lady, but you do you, King. There's a beautiful Garden of Eden where you can pay scantily dressed women for a one-on-one prayer circle. I asked this girl Joanna if she'd like to go upstairs with me. As you can see, she's cosplaying as an angel with daddy issues. She also wants to pray lying down, which is odd. I keep visiting all the casinos to try and find a lead, and eventually I'm introduced to a robot faction who see themselves as the boss of Las Vegas. They're led by a supercomputer, also known as Shrek. The plot thickens. These mods kicked in at such a strange point of my playthrough, but I'm not mad about it. Shrek tells me that Benny is hiding out in the Tops Casino. It's time for sweet, sweet revenge. I make my way there with vengeance in my heart. I quickly take a moment to double check that this guy is in fact a club promoter. The olive sweater vest wouldn't be what I would have chosen. I would have gone for a more tasteful burgundy. I learn Benny's room is on the 13th floor, so I start to try to negotiate a way of isolating him. And people want me to do quests and tasks, but then I remember this is Fallout New Vegas, I can just walk up and kill him. I find Benny and he tries to sweet talk his way out of the situation, but I don't want to hear another word. Completely outnumbered, I take on the fight, but they're forgetting one crucial thing. I can pull out my Pip-Boy 3000, which pauses time, and take medication as needed. Even still, I cut it incredibly close as waves of Benny's men swarm in, but ultimately I come out on top. I then get so much satisfying loot, which is a really welcomed endorphin hit. Benny eliminated, and I now have the elusive platinum poker chip. Mission complete. This game is absolutely amazing. Thanks for watching, you absolute legends. Until next time, and as always, stay classy.